Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. We've got some really wild new tech features to dive into today.
It really is incredible how fast things are moving, isn't it?
It's kind of hard to keep up. Speaking of fast moving, we've got to talk about this new AI image editing tool from Midjourney.
Oh yeah, the one that's supposed to let you edit any image on the web just by talking to it.
Exactly. Recolor things, change the textures, even add or remove stuff, all with AI.
It sounds amazing for creatives, but man, the potential for misuse is huge. Think about deepfakes, copyright issues.
It's a bit like giving everyone a super-powered Photoshop without any instructions, right?
Right. So how are they addressing those concerns?
Well, they're saying they're going to do a limited release, just to a small group of users at first. And they're going to have AI moderators to try to prevent people from abusing it.
Interesting. AI moderators for an AI image editor. It's like a digital hall of mirrors in there. But is that going to be enough, though?
It's hard to say, and it seems like they're not even sure, because they actually put out a call to their own community asking for feedback on how to roll this out responsibly, which I guess is something.
It is, but it does feel a bit like they're making it up as they go along, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. And speaking of making it up as we go along,
Yeah.
have you seen the stats on deepfakes lately?
Don't tell me. They're exploding again, aren't they?
They are big time. We're talking a 900% increase this year alone.
Oh, wow. I know there's been a lot of concern about deepfakes and misinformation, but it's spreading to other areas too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not just fake news anymore. People are using deepfakes for all sorts of shady stuff. Scams, harassment, even revenge porn.
That's really disturbing. So what are we doing about it? Are there any legal protections being put in place?
Some states are starting to take action. California, for example, is looking at a law that would make it illegal to use someone's likeness in a deepfake without their consent.
That makes sense, but technology moves so fast, it's got to be difficult to legislate, right?
It's like trying to hit a moving target. By the time they pass a law, the technology's already changed.
Exactly. It's a real challenge.
So Midjourney, at least, is saying they're trying to be responsible. They want to use this thing called a digital source type property to label AI-generated images.
Okay, so kind of like a digital watermark to prove an image was made with AI.
Yeah, that's the idea.
That's a good first step. But is it actually going to be effective?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. What do you think?
It feels a bit like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. It might help a little bit, but it doesn't address the root of the problem, does it?
I see what you mean. It's not foolproof. Someone could just edit the image and remove the label, right?
Exactly. And then what? We're back to square one.
So what's the solution then? What should they be doing instead?
Well, there's this technology called C2PA, the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity.
Okay, and what is that?
It's all about creating a secure and verifiable way to trace the origin of digital content, like a digital chain of custody for images.
So you can see exactly where an image came from, who made it, and whether it had been edited.
Right. Full transparency, which seems pretty crucial when you're dealing with something as powerful as this new image editor.
It does make you wonder why they wouldn't jump on board with something like C2PA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they're serious about preventing misuse.
You'd think so. It's a bit of a head scratcher. It's kind of wild to think about, you know? This tech could change everything about how we look at images online.
Totally. But speaking of changing how we look at things, let's dive into that medical imaging breakthrough we mentioned. That's some seriously cool stuff.
Oh, yeah, the AI that can analyze 3D medical images.
That's the one. It's called Silviti, and it was developed by researchers at UCLA.
And it's supposed to be as accurate as human experts, right? How does that even work?
It's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
Most AI for medical imaging is trained on like a ton of data from just one type of scan, like X-rays or MRIs.
Mm-hmm.
But Silviti's is different. They trained it mostly on 2D scans, which are way easier to come by.
So they taught it to understand 3D structures by showing it a bunch of 2D images. That's clever.
Right, and here's the kicker. It can analyze all sorts of 3D images now, not just the ones it was trained on. Retinal scans, ultrasound CT scans, MRIs, you name it. And it can spot potential problems way faster than a human can.
So we're talking to faster diagnoses, quicker treatment. This could be huge. But what's it actually looking for? Just abnormalities.
It's way more sophisticated than that. It can pick up on subtle patterns and variations that even trained doctors might miss, and it can connect the dots between different types of scans. Like, it could analyze a scan of your eye and then use that information to understand what's going on in, say, your liver.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's like having an army of specialists working around the clock, but it's all powered by AI.
Mhm.
And because it's AI, it's constantly learning and getting better.
That's the really exciting part. Imagine the possibilities for the future.
I know. And think about the impact this could have on healthcare accessibility, especially in places that don't have a lot of specialists.
It's like democratizing medical
It really
expertise.
makes you think about the future of healthcare, doesn't it?
It does. It seems like every day there's some new breakthrough, and Slivet is definitely up there with the most exciting ones.
Absolutely. But while we're talking about the future and exciting breakthroughs, we should probably circle back to Midjourney and that whole image editing thing. Remember how they asked their community who should get early access?
Oh, right, right. Did they announce their decision? I'm kind of curious to see what they went with.
They did, and it's causing a bit of a stir online.
Really? Why? What did they decide?
Get this, they're giving priority access to their highest paying subscribers.
Oh, wow. So basically, if you want to play with the potentially dangerous AI tool first, you got to shell out the big bucks.
That's one way to look at it.
Well, yeah, it does seem a little, I don't know, tone deaf maybe, given all the concerns about misuse and everything.
I could see that, but at the same time, they are a company, right? They have to make money somehow, and they did put a lot of resources into developing this technology.
True, true. And I guess you could argue that by limiting access, they're trying to mitigate some of the risks, at least at first. Smaller user base, more control.
Exactly. It gives them a chance to work out any bugs, gather feedback, and fine-tune their safety measures before opening it up to everyone.
It's like a beta test, but instead of just being about functionality, it's also about ethics and responsibility.
Right, exactly. And it gives them more time to educate users about the potential downsides, like deepfakes and misinformation.
Makes sense. It's still a bit of a gamble, though, isn't it? Putting this kind of power in the hands of a select few and hoping for the best.
It is, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. This whole conversation has been a wild ride, hasn't it?
Hmm.
From AI that could revolutionize healthcare to AI that could turn the internet into a deepfake free-for-all.
It really highlights the power and the potential dangers of this technology, that's for sure. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is. But that's what we're here for, right? To dive deep into these complex issues and hopefully get people thinking.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, as they say.
It absolutely is. So to everyone listening, we want to hear from you. What do you think about all of this? How do you feel about the future of AI? Hit us up on social media and let's keep the conversation going. And as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.